They are the two men leading the polls in their respective parties, former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden. But a new Associated Press-NORC Center for Public Affairs research poll shows this is exactly the matchup. Close to 60% of voters don't.
You think he'd go away?
You know what I think he was? I think he was a one-hit wonder. Right? He wrote The Twist. And then that was it. He was on the casino circuit, and then you idiot liberals wrote him Twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now he's
coming back, Jimmy.
Donald Trump has emerged here at the end of 2023, not merely a rehabilitated politician, but as the undisputed leader of his party. Now, Trump began this year as the...
Meanwhile, this new poll shows 1/3 of Democrats would be dissatisfied if Biden were their party's nominee, pointing to high consumer prices and the Israel-Gaza war as reasons.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
The United States appeared to be hurtling toward a 2024 rematch between President Biden and former President Trump, a prospect that few Americans seemed keen on witnessing. Biden had been under persistent scrutiny for months regarding his age and whether he could sustain another 4 years in the White House. Approaching 86 at the potential end of a second term, his approval ratings had consistently hovered below 40% through much of the previous year. On the other side, Trump remained a polarizing figure since his 2016 campaign, marked by incendiary remarks about Mexican immigrants. Many voters were fatigued at the thought of Trump returning to the ballot due to his legal entanglements and the tumultuous nature of his initial 4 years in office. Democrats particularly viewed him as a threat to the democratic process. Consequently, analysts noted that polls indicated a substantial portion of the population was averse to this potential rematch. Grant Rear, director of the Campbell Public Affairs Institute at Syracuse University, emphasized the serious drawbacks associated with both candidates, leading to dissatisfaction across the political spectrum. Independent voters were notably displeased with both, while partisan loyalty drove negativity toward the opposing candidate. An Associated Press poll conducted in late November and early December reflected widespread discontent, with a majority expressing dissatisfaction with either Biden or Trump as nominees. Similar sentiments persisted among some within their respective parties, indicating a notable level of dissatisfaction among Democrats and Republicans alike. An April NBC News poll found 70% of Americans felt Biden should not run for re-election, while 60% said they did not think Trump should run for another term. And a June poll from CNN found 31% of voters preferred neither Trump nor Biden in a hypothetical head-to-head matchup. A trend emerged where a significant portion of Americans preferred alternative candidates. Despite this sentiment, Trump and Biden remained the dominant favorites for their party's nominations in the forthcoming elections due to the prevailing influence of incumbency in modern politics. The majority of Democrats rallied behind Biden for his re-election bid, albeit with exceptions such as Representative Dean Phillips, who ran a primary campaign citing concerns about Biden's age.
And when I'm president, well, first of all, why am I running? Because Joe Biden is going to lose to Donald Trump. And I think most Americans recognize the tragedy, the danger of Donald Trump. I think it's healthy for the United States to have men in their 80s as president? No, I don't. And by the way, it's not just me, it's about 75% of the country. So it is not my job to opine. What I'm saying is that Americans have made it clear they do not want either of these candidates as president.
Meanwhile, Trump maintained a commanding lead in the Republican primary, demonstrating substantial support ahead of the Iowa caucuses. A recent Selzer Iowa poll found Trump polling at more than 50%, while the latest St. Anselm College poll in New Hampshire had Trump ahead of former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley by 14 percentage points. Trump's legal issues loomed over his candidacy, with over 90 criminal charges pending, but his popularity among primary voters seemed largely unaffected.
We love Trump! We love Trump! We love Trump! We love Trump!
A New York Times Siena College poll released December 20th found 62% of Republican voters believe Trump should remain the GOP nominee, even if he is convicted of a federal crime. The dissatisfaction with the potential Trump-Biden rematch fueled discussions of an independent ticket, with figures like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. expressing intentions to run. However, uncertainty remained regarding ballot access in sufficient states. Among potential independent efforts, one spearheaded by No Labels seemed to have a clearer pathway to appearing on nationwide ballots. The group aimed for a unity ticket, claiming substantial voter support in a race between Trump and Biden. Despite concerns that an independent candidacy might split votes and benefit one of the major party candidates, No Labels officials believed there was a significant opportunity for a third-party run at the presidency. They planned to make a decision regarding their effort post-Super Tuesday in March, assessing the viability of their candidacy based on the evolving dynamics between Trump and Biden. Despite critics' apprehensions, No Labels officials remained optimistic about the potential for a third-party contender to make a serious bid for the White House.
For 13 years, No Labels has fought to elevate the voice of the common sense majority, who are fed up with a corrupt DC political establishment that serves its own needs instead of those of the people. Now that very political establishment has set its sights on No Labels, which will offer its ballot line for a unity presidential ticket in 2024. They're complaining we're working outside the party primary system, the same dysfunctional system that they control, that is set to produce the two most unpopular presidential nominees in American history. Most Americans don't even vote in these primaries. If you're an independent in many states, you aren't even allowed to. Party primaries like these aren't the answer to our problems. They are the problem. And No Labels is proud to be creating a new way for the common sense majority.
Click here to learn more about Donald Trump's 34 felony charges, and click here to learn about the Hollywood strike in 1945.